Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm back with another sketchbook painting. So I realized I take a long time to do my larger pieces, so I'm gonna break it like one large piece, two small paintings, and one large piece. And I've been very into this whole color theory thing. I know it's been a technique that's been on for a while, but I've never really got to kind of put it into practice. So I'm going to be drawing lemons today, and I'm going to be experimenting a little. So what I'm doing now is I'm just sketching out the lemon and its leaves and its branches and a few lemon flowers, and then I'm going to paint it. So basically, color theory refers to the understanding and application of how colors interact with each other and with the viewer's perception. So when you understand color relationships, it also allows the artist to kind of create more visually and appealing, impactful compositions. It provides like a framework for mixing colors, understanding color temperature, warm and cool colors, and achieving desired values. For example, lightness and darkness. So I'm still kind of experimenting around, but apparently you can use unconventional colors so that the original color will pop more. So instead of shading this in from light yellow to dark yellow, I use purple to shade it as my darkest shade, and then I use orange yellow, and for the lighter shade I use lemon yellow. And I'm gonna blend it all together, and I'm gonna add a little bit more purple at the bottom just to give it more shading. And then I'm using acrylic gouache for this, so it's fantastic because I just have to add a bit of water, and with a couple strokes of the paintbrush it blends beautifully. So from what I gathered, the color seems to pop a lot more, even though I just used just a little bit of yellow, but you can tell that the fruit is yellow and the purple doesn't seem very out of place. In fact, it just kind of shades in very naturally. So I'm going to try to experiment a little bit more, and I want this lemon to look more yellow, but for the instead of purple I'm going to use blue. So I use dark blue as my shading at the bottom, and then I use lemon yellow, and I add a little bit of white with the yellow to make it the lightest shade, and then I blend it all. And then for this one I want it to be more orangey, like a bit darker, since it's hiding behind the other lemons. So I'm going to mix more dark blue with dark purple, and I'm just going to use orange, and I'm going to kind of blend it in. And then once that's blended, I'm going to mix just a little bit of yellow and orange, and then I'm going to kind of paint over it and lightly just brush around like the dark shade. So there you have it. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I think the tonal values came out really nicely. And then I'm just going to be a bit more bold here. I'm going to add more blue. So for the lemons that I want to look more yellowish, I'm going to use blue as my dark shade. And I'm just going to blend it all together again, lemon yellow, and then I'm going to paint over the blue, and I'm going to blend it in the middle, and just going to continue to add more yellow, and then I add a bit of orange at the bottom just to kind of get the shading correct. And I'm just going to blend it in until I'm satisfied, and I think it is done. So next I'm going to work on the branches. I'm going to be using dark purple as my undertone, and then I'm going to use pink as my light tone to create the branches instead of using conventional brown. And I think it actually turned out quite nice. It doesn't look out of place even though the branches are pink, but it seems to just kind of blend in quite well. I'm also using a size 000 brush for this because it's those are kind of like very thin lines. And then I'm going to work on the leaves now. Because I'm feeling a little bit adventurous, I'm going to be using dark red for my darkest shade for the leaf, and I'm just going to blend in light shades of green with a middle shade of green to create the tonal values for the leaves. And I actually really like how it turned out so far. I feel like the red really isn't in your face. It just kind of like blends in nicely with the green. So usually I use like dark blue because it matches well with green for my dark shade, but I think now I'm gonna like mix it up a little bit, and I'm gonna try and experiment with other colors just to create that shading. So to add a little bit of variety to the leaves, some are in a lighter shade and some are a darker shade. I add more yellow to the light green to make it lighter, and for the darker one I just add a hint of blue to the green. So next we're going to be working on the flowers, and instead of painting them white, I'm going to mix white with cobalt blue and pink, and you get this kind of very nice lilac shade. And for the highlights, I'm going to use pink mixed with white, and I'm just going to like spread it a little bit amongst the petals, and I'm going to give it a dash of white lines. So I'm going to repeat the same step for these flowers here, and once I've painted the base in that lilac shade of blue, I'm going to add the pink and the white. So for the background, I've decided to just go simple. I'm going to paint it in sky blue. The bottom half of it, I'm going to paint it with sky blue mixed with ultramarine blue, so it's a little bit darker, and on the top half, I'm just going to paint it in sky blue so it's a little bit lighter. And it is finished. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you found the tutorial useful, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Goodbye.